anything and everything.
Do you ever wonder how to? Do you ever wonder why?
About anything and everything. Then Doris is your guy. Anything and everything will open your mind. Anything and everything with Doris. Anything and everything with Doris is online. Remember. Anything and everything with Doris.
You are listening to Anything and Everything with Doris podcast. This episode is brought to you by WYSK Spark Radio, the spark of the South. Listen to hits from the 70s till now. Find it on Live 365, Spark Radio. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well this week. I'm sorry we missed you last week. We had a little change of plans last week, and I'm going to tell you about it. As you know, my husband's an over-the-road driver, and he has his own truck and his own company, and he wanted to make some changes. So he wanted to get rid of the truck that he had, and the closest place to return it was in Dallas. And to get his new vehicle and lease out to someone else, he was going to have to go to Olive Branch, Mississippi. Well, so what the plan was, he leaves Sunday, go return the truck on Monday, come back Tuesday, head out to Olive Branch, and he was going to be there till Friday. No problem. Well, I have the grandsons, 3 of the grandsons for the summer. And he said, well, you know what, let's get them out the house and let's take them to Dallas and find something to do with them there. And then I'll drop y'all off and head on over to Olive Branch. So thought, well, good, because I can do my blog while I'm on the road. And I'd be back in time to do the podcast for Thursday. Well, here's what happened. So my husband books in Irving, Texas at DFW Conference Center and Hotel. And he was like, well, we'll go there Sunday. Monday, I'll have to go return the rig. And meanwhile, the kids can have fun at the hotel. And then when we're done, I'll take them to see where JFK got shot. You know, they can learn a little history. Like, well, that sounds great. The reason he picked DFW Conference Center and Hotel was because of the amenities they were claiming. They said they had an outdoor pool, an indoor pool with a hot tub, 2 restaurants, a putt-putt mini course, a gym, of course, clean rooms. And I'm a little picky. I don't want just a clean room. I want a tub. I don't care if you have a shower with it, but I have to have a tub because sometimes I just want to lay back and relax. And another thing is I have to be off the ground floor. I don't know what it is, but I do not ever want to be on the ground floor. I don't care if you put me on the 2nd or the 15th. I just don't want to be on the ground floor. So we get there. And the funny thing is, a few years ago, I had a dream, and I didn't know it was a hotel in my dream. But when I walked in, I realized I had been there before in my dream. And I don't really remember much about it. I just remember I wanted to get out. And I was up like on the 4th floor, I guess. And all I know is I couldn't get out of there fast enough. So I was kind of nervous, like, So anyway, I walk in, and it's amazing. You can tell back in the heyday, in its prime, this hotel had to be gorgeous. Like, I really wished I could have seen it back then. But today, it's a little run down. It definitely needs some remodeling. But our thinking was, you know what? They got 2 pools, the hot tub. The kids can have some fun while my husband's out doing his thing. And then when we come back, we'll be able to go out and see a few things. And they have 2 restaurants, so we can always get a bite to eat there at any time, whatever. So we go to our room. They put us on the 1st floor, which I didn't like. But what was worse than that was the room was musty. And I have a grandson that has asthma, and that's not going to work for us, which it shouldn't work for anybody, right? So anyway, my husband goes and he says, look, we wanted a refrigerator, a microwave, and a clean room, and we don't have any of those. And the room didn't have a tub. It had a shower, but it was odd looking because it looked like what they did is it looks like they pulled out the tub and he didn't even tile it. It just looks like there was like a cement slab sort of thing where the tub used to go. And he just put a shower and a curtain and called it a day, And I was like, nope, I gotta have my tub. And this shower isn't gonna work either. I wouldn't even want to step in there. So he goes and he complains, and they put us up on the second floor. And we have a nice little view. This hotel has interior balconies. And so it was, we could look out and see the putt-putt and the pool and the hot tub. And the lobby's pretty. So I was like, well, this is pretty cool. The room was clean. And we had a door that goes out to the hall where you could come in and out. And then we had a door that went out to, it's not really a balcony. Our room didn't have the balcony, but you could walk out and go over to the rail and you could look over and see everything going on in the lobby. So it had a door that would bring you out there, but you couldn't go back in. But I was cool with that. I was like, great, I got 2 exits if I need it, right? And then that night, the lobby was lit up beautiful. It really was. It looks really good at night. It's really pretty. But anyway, so we unpack and we go downstairs and we're going to go to the pool. Kids are in their trunks. Beautiful pool, just beautiful. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do my blog for Monday and they can swim. Except it was ice cold. They didn't even want to run the heat. That's why it was so pretty, because nobody wanted to get in it. I'm telling you, you could have, I don't know how it didn't have ice over it. It was just that cold. It wasn't something you could get in and get used to. You could not stay in there. You'd have got hypothermia. So I said, well, go over to the hot tub, go sit in the hot tub for a little bit. Well, the hot tub was ice cold too. It wasn't as cold as the pool, I guess, because it was smaller, but it was still kind of chilly. But they could tolerate it. It wasn't as cold as the pool, so they stayed there a little bit and they swam. So I'm like, okay, so this really isn't a hot tub. This is a baby pool. Because a hot tub would have heat. So then they got out. And we went to the room and, well, actually before we went to the room, I said, why don't you go see if they have the outdoor, where the outdoor pool is, and we'll go out to the outdoor pool. Well, come to find out, they tell us at the desk, the outdoor pool has been closed down by the state of Texas for a year. And the putt-putt green, it wasn't usable. It looks good, but when you get up close, you could see that it wasn't maintained and it's just not usable. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go grab a bite to eat while we wait on G-Pop to get back. You got 2 restaurants, right? Neither of those restaurants are in service because they are remodeling. So here we are at a hotel that we picked because of all these amenities and they didn't have it. And they said they had a gym, but we couldn't find it. We actually saw it when we were leaving. So I don't even know if you could get to the gym from inside. We saw the gym through a door when we were leaving on the outside. So I don't even know how we could have got to the gym, but I didn't ask. And they said they had a 24-hour shuttle. I don't know. We didn't need one, so I couldn't tell you much about the shuttle. But I did notice when we got there was a guy complaining because he was checking out later than he was supposed to, and they were giving him, they were keeping $30 of his deposit. Did you hear me? Deposit, that's right. You had to leave $100 deposit to stay there. I've never heard of such a thing in my life, but yes, you had to give them $100 deposit. And I just looked at my husband and I thought, well, there's consequences when you stay late, right? So due to the circumstances of not being able to do what we thought we could do, according to their own website, my husband said, you know what we'll do? Instead of staying till Tuesday, we'll leave tomorrow. We'll leave Monday. And on our way out, we will go see JFK's where he got assassinated. And then since we couldn't really do much with them, we'll just take them to Olive Branch, which is 35 minutes from Memphis. And my husband's going to be there till Friday, and we'll have things to do with them there to kind of make up for the circumstances. So we go to check out. The guy gives us our $100 deposit back, but he says, oh, well, we're still going to charge you for tomorrow because there's no cancellation. And we checked out early. We didn't even and check out at checkout time. We were leaving first thing in the morning, like it was like 8 o'clock, and the checkout was 11. And my husband said, well, you have plenty of time to re-rent the room. And the reason we're leaving is because you don't have anything that's promised on your website, so you need to refund the money. And he said, I'm sorry, we just don't have refunds here. My husband called Trivago, because that's who he booked through, and he explained to them. And he said, well, I'm sorry, that's their rule. And my husband said, let me tell you something. We went to this hotel because of the indoor and outdoor pool, the hot tub, and the putt-putt, and the restaurant. And none of these are available. And therefore, that's the reason we're checking out early. If it had all these things, we would have stayed another day. We're not going to waste our time and money when there's nothing here that they promised us. So either you're going to give us our money back or they're going to give us our money back. So you decide who's going to give me my money back. So he went around with a couple of people, and they realized, oh, wait, on the website, they made you all these promises, but they didn't have it when you got there. That's right. The pool was condemned for a year by the state of Texas. They didn't say that on the website. They didn't say that the hot tub and indoor pool was going to be ice cold and not usable. They didn't say that the mini golf putt-putt wasn't usable. And they certainly didn't say that the 2 restaurants were under remodeling, so you couldn't eat there. And so they were like, okay, that's right. They reached the deal. You will get your money back within 3 to 5 days. So we left, had to come back home, did some laundry while my husband was getting what he needed for Olive Branch. And we left the next morning. We headed out to Olive Branch, Mississippi. And this place my husband booked us was Whispering Woods Convention Center and Hotel. And I was kind of nervous because I was like, great, another convention center and hotel, right? Like, well, let's just go see it. So we get there and it's really nice. It's off the highway. You have a wooded area. It's a little winding road through a beautiful wooded area, which they have 25 acres, by the way. And it's shaded and it has a walking path, a trail that you can walk or jog on. It has a very clean gym. It had a outdoor pool, very clean. It had a basketball court. It's got fields that you could play baseball and soccer practice on, or even have a reunion or rally or whatever, right? It had a complimentary breakfast from 6 to 10, which was great. They served scrambled eggs, sausage, grits, waffles, cereal, fruit, juices, coffee of your choice, decaf or regular. They had muffins, toast, different types of breads. It was really, really a great, clean place. And the food was great. And if you're from the South, you're really picky about grits, and their grits were absolutely perfect. And they did have a laundry room, but I didn't need it, so I never went to see that. They had a shuttle. In that room that they served breakfast, they had, for later on during the day, you could dine in or carry out salads or meals. They had an amphitheater, a grand ballroom. They said it was pet friendly, which kind of makes me nervous sometimes because you think you're going to smell pets. None. No, you couldn't tell there was ever a pet in there. So that was good. And so what we did is we went and ran over to Walmart, which was a couple miles. We got a basketball for the boys so they could play basketball. And then after they get all hot and sweaty, they could go swimming in the pool. No, it was really nice. Our room was really clean. We had an outdoor balcony, although you couldn't sit on it. You couldn't like put a chair there and sit. You could open it up and sit from the inside the room, or you could stand on the balcony and look out because the balconies are pretty small. But it was nice. You know, it was really nice. And the staff was very friendly. It was very clean. It was a very beautiful, beautiful hotel. In fact, I told my husband I would like to see Memphis again without the kids. And I wouldn't mind staying in that hotel again because I felt safe and it was gorgeous. And it's not like right off the highway. When we went to Memphis, most of the hotels are right along the highway. Here it was peaceful, serene. You could open the sliding doors to the balcony and it was really peaceful. You wouldn't hear traffic, or it's really, really a great hotel. I can't say enough about it. So after my husband did what he needed to do, we went and took the boys to Memphis, and we went to Beale Street. And the way my husband explained it to me, because I had never heard of Beale Street, that was, he said, well, it's like Bourbon Street, but nicer. Which I was kind of nervous, like, ooh, Bourbon Street. I wouldn't take kids on Bourbon Street, not even in the daytime, right? Well, we get there, and it is way nicer than Bourbon Street. You know, you don't have the strip clubs. You can bring your children. A lot of great music. You know, you're in Memphis. You're going to have a lot of great music there too. Great clean area. While we were there, they had a bunch of bikers showing off their bikes, and they had a bunch of older cars on the side street, and that was nice. They have lots of places to eat, shops, so it was really nice. We missed Schwab's. My husband wanted to go eat at Schwab's, but by the time we made it there, it was closed. It closes at 6, so we missed that one. So we left, and actually it's kind of my fault that we got to Beale Street a little late, because I wanted to stop at the museum. They had a Brooks Museum, which just so happened on that day it was free. And I was like, well, it's free. It's a museum. Let's go check it out. You know, I'm into that kind of a thing. And I realized I got a 9-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 14-year-old that may not be, but they need a little culture too, don't you think? So we stopped over at the Brooks Museum, and don't ever think you're going to go in there and get in and out real quick. It's really nice size museum, and they have so much to see. They have a room where it's an exhibit of symbols, and every hour they play music. They have the Rotunda Project. They have a natural curiosity exhibit by Beth Van Hoosen. They had Poets and Painters exhibit. They had a gallery by Carol Clore. They had a drawing memory of Essence of Memphis. That was nice. They had so much, and they had great sculptures. In fact, right when you walk in, the thing that will catch your eye, if it's still there when y'all go, they have this magnificent tree, but it's created by all different types of materials, fabrics and stuff. And then they have birds hanging down made out of books. You know, you could see the pages of the books, but they decorated it. Socks up there, all kinds of stuff. But it was amazing. Like every time I looked up at that tree, I saw something different. It was really amazing. And they had all kinds of different sculptures, like made of tires or, you know, different fabrics you might find at home. It was really, really interesting. And on the second floor, they had a children's museum, which then the kids loved it. It's a hands-on learning experience. So if you have kids, go to the second floor and bring them. I think they're going to love it. But there's so much to see. I think we spent like 2 hours there. You know, it's really big. I think they said it's 102 years old, this museum. And then on the outside of the museum, they have an amphitheater, but they weren't playing music when we went. And I would love to go back to Memphis and go there when they have a show. It's really nice. So we spent a lot of time at the museum. So by the time we got to Beale Street and found Schwab's, they were closed. So I said, well, don't worry about it. We can come back tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, the very next day, it starts raining, and it rained the rest of the time that we were there. And it really disappointed me because so much of the stuff we wanted to do with the boys was outdoors. Like they have a glass bridge. We didn't get to go see it. They had an amusement park called Golf and Games. And we were going to go because I said, well, I know they have indoor stuff as well. So I called and he said, well, most of their stuff's outside. They don't have a lot inside. So you might want to wait till it's not raining because, of course, all the outdoor stuff is closed. So we passed on that. But they also have this huge pyramid that Bass Pro, they have a store in there, you know. And so we were like, okay, well, let's go check them out. You know, it's not my favorite thing to do, but hey, it's all guys. Let's go do what they want to do. And I'll tell you, I'm not disappointed at all. It was really nice. First thing you see when you walk in is a lodge. They actually have a lodge that you could stay there for $200 a night. And when you walk into the store area, if you look up, all around the top is the lodges. And you can see the balconies. The balconies look over the entire store. It's not really a place that I personally personally would want to stay, because if I go out on a balcony in a lodge, I want to see wildlife. I want to see nature. But it was interesting. It was very interesting to see. And of course, I don't know if they have certain times that you can go on the balcony or whatever, because not one person was on their balcony when I was in the store. But maybe, you don't want people looking at you like that, So anyway, they also have this elevator, a glass elevator that goes way up to the top. I couldn't tell you how high it is, but it's pretty doggone high. And you go up there and there's a restaurant and they have a balcony and you can look out and see Memphis. I didn't do that. Me and one of my grandsons are kind of afraid of heights. Maybe if the elevator would have been enclosed where you don't see how high you are, maybe we could have handled it. In my heyday, I've always been afraid of heights, but I've loved rides, thrilling rides, and maybe this would have been okay in my heyday. Now, stuff like that would make me sick. So we didn't go. I think everybody should at least go to the top once and get a good view of Memphis, because I'll bet that's an outstanding view. I just couldn't do it. They had little ponds here and there. They had some boats sitting on the water, and they had these huge catfish and other life in there. It was really interesting. And one of the first things that I saw when I walked in after passing the lodge is they have a shooting gallery. Now bring coins, because you can't use a card or anything. It doesn't take bills. So if you want to play the gallery, make sure you bring change. And luckily my husband always has change for the machines on the road. So the kids got to shoot. That was really fun. Let's see, what else? They had one of my grandsons loved that it had a tunnel, but it's not really a tunnel. It's just like a little path through. It's very short, but it looks like you're going through a cave, And they had a huge aquarium, and I could have sat there and watched that all day long. It was really nice. It's a really nice Bass Pro Shop. So if you're ever in Memphis and you see that big giant pyramid, even if you're not into that kind of stuff, just go take a look. I think you're going to be impressed. It was definitely worth it. In fact, they wanted to go back the next day. So all in all, it started out like a Griswold vacation. If you're familiar with those Chevy Chase vacation movies, not so good. It ended up not being so bad. There's things I wish we would have been able to do, but the weather didn't permit. But I will tell you this. I told my husband I really do want to go back to Memphis, because there's a few things that I do want to go back and do, and I'd like to do it without the kids. And I feel like Whispering Woods Convention Center in Olive Branch was definitely a very nice place to stay. Now, I had been in and out of Memphis a lot growing up because my godfather lived there. And I don't know if I'm sure part of it is because it's changed, places change, but it's just not the same. And I just didn't feel like there was a place I really wanted to stay. I didn't want to stay in a hotel that's hanging out on the highway after being in Whispering Woods. I'm sure they're nice hotels. I have no doubt about that, but I would much rather go back to Whispering Woods and stay there and drive the 35 minutes to visit Memphis the next time we go. So if you're ever in the Memphis area, just go check out Whispering Woods if you want a nice, quiet place to stay that's clean and really does give you everything that they ask, everything that you see on the website. In fact, the hotel looks way better in person than you actually see on the website. And that's unusual, because at the DFW Convention Center and Hotel that we stayed at, they made the pictures on the website look wonderful. But when you get there, it's so disappointing. And I'm absolutely sure when they're done remodeling it, it'll be gorgeous, but I won't be going back because I don't like their practice of making all these promises and not upholding them, and then not wanting to give you your money back because you're disappointed in that. So they've lost this customer, and I would suggest if you want to give it a try, call first and get their word on it. Hopefully they'll be honest and they'll tell you if they're still under construction and if they have a pool that's not ice cold. Hopefully they'll tell you the truth. But other than that, they got many, many other nicer hotels. In fact, they had two right next to it that I wish we would have picked one of those options instead. But you live and you learn. And so that's why I missed the podcast last week. I was trying to entertain the children while my husband was handling his business. And it turned out not to be so bad. It was very nice coming home, though. I'm at the age where I don't mind going somewhere for a short time, but home is always best for me. And I'm glad to be back and be with y'all. I can't wait to chat with y'all next time. See y'all next week. And that's our show. Thanks for listening. And until we meet again, enjoy every day to its fullest. God bless. For comments or questions, you can reach us by email at yopi@post.com. Also, check us out on Twitter at Dorisi and our Facebook pages at YOPI Studio or Louisiana Entertainment Association. Anything and Everything with Doris is produced by Your Own Production Incorporated and comes out every week. So come on back and feel free to add us to your favorite RSS feed, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Pod, and our favorite, Podbean. All links are found in our show notes below.